Good afternoon. I wanted to introduce you to This is Why You Can't Find Good Paying Jobs, Part 3. Which jobs? If you go over here to guest worker visas, it's at guestworkervisas.com. And on the right hand side, or on your cell phone down below, you'll see who is depriving you of jobs in your town. Let's pull this off so you can see everything. Click on that. It'll ask you to enter your work city. This could be the city you live in. It don't matter. I'm going to use Austin, the two-letter state abbreviation, Texas, and spell out the state. And it'll pull up this report. The first thing is top 50 companies sending jobs offshore or layoffs. We're going to ignore that for now. We're going to ignore the top 50 companies importing non-immigrant workers on the H-1B visa for now. We're going to ignore the top 50 possible government agencies, primary employer and secondary employer. We're going to ignore the two understand the next two sections. Go all the way down till we get the job gains between 2023 and 2024. This is what they call the, if you Google it, it's under BLS OES. It breaks the jobs down by occupation code, which is what we want to see. In other words, management, computer and mathematical, architecture and engineering. I show the hourly median pay, the annual median pay. I show how many people we had employed in 2024. How many we had employed in 2023. And whatever job gains. This is the difference between those two numbers. So if we go down to one of the most important ones to most of you guys. Well, now let's take something different first. Let's click on this job gains. Because it's important you understand it. The three main jobs that most Americans outside of the computer industry make money from is office and administrative. This is your clerks, that type of stuff. Your truck drivers, transportation and material moving. Your salesmen, sales and related. Production and operation, that's your manufacturing. We're going to ignore this. Arts, design, entertainment, sports, and media. That's your celebrities. Who cares? It's important you understand this. Between 2023 and 2024, we had a negative 315,380 jobs in our clerk jobs. That's a lot of people that have average paying jobs of $22.27 an hour to force out of the workforce. But you've never heard the media discuss this, have you? Same thing about truck drivers. We've heard a few truck drivers on here bitching and raising hell. And by God, they ought to be bitching. 107,140 of them have been forced out of the workplace at an average pay of $20.55 an hour. Sales and related, lost 28,980 of them. Average pay of $18.01. Now let's look at the jobs we created. Management, 471,060 of them. Healthcare, that's your support, that's your nurses, aid, and stuff like that. 384,480 of them. Food preparation, 365,620. Healthcare practitioners, that's your doctors and stuff. 308,480 of them. Your business and finance operations, this is typically your corporate clerks. In other words, large corporations. They had an increase to 263,610. Your education, that's your teachers, 203,150. They all had increases. But now let's go back up here and sort it by the highest paying. Computer and mathematical, $50.89 an hour on average. We created 15,490 jobs. But get this, and this is where most people don't understand what's going on. We had 566,993 H-1B applications wanting those jobs, which left a negative 551,503 jobs. In other words, if you're an American and those H-1Bs are moved to the head of the line, which we showed last time were, you ain't getting a job. It's that simple. Architecture and engineering. We created 27,550. Had 78,759 H-1B applications for it. There again, if you're an American, you ain't getting that job. Now, what did the H-1Bs apply for? Computer and mathematical, architectural and engineering, business and finance and operations, management, life, physical and social science, educational, instruction and library, healthcare practitioners. Every one of them had above 30,000 H-1B applications. There's a lot of people out there that mistakenly believe this is only happening to tech workers. Bullshit. As you can see here, it's happening to every one of us. And it's getting more and more every year. Even for our policemen or firemen, they had 18 H-1B applications. Transportation, 772 H-1B applications. And I know for a fact there's a bunch more H-2A and H-2B applications, but we're not counting them yet. Now this is between 2023 and 2024. Let's go down and see what happened between 2022 and 2023. There again. Job gains. We lost the office administration, the clerks. Farming, fishery, and forestry. Lost them. That's the main two. So truck drivers was a new one. Best paying. Computer and mathematical, $50.10. Hell, it was $50.89 in 2023 and 2024. So we got an average of about 79 cents an hour pay raise in a year for the best paying, most highly sought after jobs in America. Crazy, ain't it? This is where you can cut through the chase. Anytime somebody's telling you something, look here, H-1B applications. We created between 2022 and 2023 173,490 computer and math jobs. Yet we had 415,850 H-1B applications. There again, if you're an American, I don't care if you're white, black, brown, whatever, you ain't getting hired. If you do, it's a miracle. Engineering. We created 58,490 of them jobs. We had 57,938. So 552 Americans might have squeaked by, maybe. It's pretty sad, folks. We want to see which one's getting hit the worst. There again, it's computer and math, office administration, farming, fishing, and forestry. Those are getting hurt the worst. And I've even got it down here one more time in case you want to do 2021, 2022. The results are the same. Sales, we lost in sales again. Let's look at our best paying jobs. Computer and mathematical. We had 349,160 jobs. And we had 416,893 H-1B applications. In other words, every year, when you go talk to your congressman or your senator, every year, the computer and math occupation that you're sending your kids for to get their STEM degree, every year we've had more H-1B applications than we've created jobs for. And that's the last 3 years you've seen here. Now, the downside of using this data, it comes out in May of every year. So in other words, we won't see the 2025 data until May of 2026. That sucks. But it's what it is. At least now you know why you can't find work. And if you scroll down below there, I broke it down by your state that you entered there in that first screen. It might say Philadelphia, it might say Boston, wherever, it don't matter. The results are the same. If you go to this little thing here, you can play what ifs all day long to your heart's content to see why your kids or your family member or you yourself are not getting jobs. It really is this simple, folks. And it boils down to we have more workers than we have more workers than we're creating jobs for. And the reason we have more workers is because we have this tidal wave of H-1B immigrants. And we're only looking at the H-1B. There are so many other visas that can also be factored in here. We just don't have data for it, so we're not included yet. If we had the data, you can bet your ass it'd be included here. Anyway, that's enough for this video. I want you to go out and learn this inside out. And if I'm not teaching it good enough, I want you to understand it so you can teach it better. Be the change that you want. If you want to see Washington, D.C. brought to its knees and take care of Americans in America, you have to understand this data. It's that simple. And for those, if you're in Texas, I'd appreciate it if you go to my website, vbsenate.com. I'm the only one I know that's discussing jobs out of anybody, out of all 50 states. It's a long shot for me to get in there, but we can get in there. And if we could get in there and unseat Senator Cornyn, we could send a message clear across the bow in Washington, D.C. and say, hey, enough's enough. It's time to take care of Americans in America. Or this is going to happen in every incumbent in Washington, D.C. Because Americans have had enough. They want their damn jobs back so they can provide for their families. If you agree with me, I could use your vote. Thank you.